Today we're going to tell you guys our top 6 favorite yoga poses. 3 for me and 3 for Kyle.
For the first pose, it is Jody that will be sharing that with you. So Jody, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I have a ton of stress and tension in my head, neck, and shoulders. And often when I'm teaching yoga, that's kind of my go-to class plan, is something to release the upper spine and the neck and shoulders. Big fan of Garudasana, the eagle arms. If you can't put your hands together, that's totally fine. You could even do something like this. But just find a way to move your shoulder blades up and down on the back body. So if you're able to take fingertips to palm, find that highest point, woo-wee, and then lower down, but keep them moving so that you release some of that tension that builds in the upper back, especially if you have a desk job, if you've been sitting a lot. You hear that a lot from yoga teachers. This is one of my favorites. And also, when your fingertips are up high, drop your chin to your chest, and also right ear, right shoulder, left ear, left shoulder, and just find that full rotation of your head. That's probably my go-to pose. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Okay, so pose number 2 is Kyle. Kyle, what's your pose?
Okay, so my first pose that I will be doing is a pose that I often do in the shower. And it is a forward fold.
The shower?
And it's a forward fold. So,
what kind of shower do you have?
this is how I wash myself.
Okay.
But no, I often do this pose. I probably do this pose like 5 to 10 times a day, and it's just it's a pose that I do, and it releases a lot of lower back pain. And I just like hanging down here and stretching the back of the calves.
Do you bend your knees quite a bit?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I've also gained a bit of weight over the last little bit, so my tummy just sits nicely in between my thighs.
Okay. Little COVID fluff?
Yes, you can say that. But anyways, I just really find a lot of enjoyment and rest out of that pose. And
standing forward fold?
Yeah, and it's one of the, like, whether or not you do yoga or not, I think it's just a great pose for anyone to do. Okay, for pose number 3, we have Jody doing a
downward facing dog. Probably my favorite pose, actually. Just to do in general. So I liked the last pose because it released something. This one just is more therapeutic and comfortable for me. So what I love about downward facing dog is you can bend your knees and get this nice deep stretch underneath your arms. But there's so many variations in down dog where you can take a spinal twist. You can lift the leg, bend a knee, open your hip. Or you could just find stillness where it's the inversion of the head below the heart. And just kind of chill out a little bit, open up the back body. Yeah, this is my go-to pose for sure. Love downward facing dog. Okay, Kyle's gonna do pose number 4. What is it, Kyle?
Okay, for pose number 4, I don't really know what it's called, but I don't know if you guys remember Lisa Jeffries. She was a teacher at the studio, and she just helped me when I was before I had my shoulder surgery. If some of you guys might know that, she really helped me just prepare for that. So I'm really thankful for her. So thank you, Lisa. But one of the things that Lisa told me was to do this pose repeatedly, and I found a lot of, I don't know what this is called. It's just more about like pulling the shoulders back and just opening this up. So naturally I am in this position a lot, and you guys have probably seen me like this. Like I'm gonna be 65 years old and gonna be like this. I know it. So she's always just encouraged me to just like really pull my shoulders back as much as I can. So I try to do this pose at least kind of 5 times a day and just open up the front body.
Also good in the shower?
No, I don't do this one in the shower.
Okay.
But I do, and maybe or not, this is true or not, but it's maybe some false belief that I won't be a hunchback later on in my life if I continue to do this. So
does it feel really nice in your chest right there?
It's actually kind of painful. I think you need to engage the core actually when you do this pose, because if you don't, I think you can just really like
over-wrench your back.
The low back.
Yeah.
So anyways, I really like grabbing the hands behind the back, and I think if you can't grab your hands behind your back, just even going in like a doorway and just pulling the shoulders, like any way to pull the shoulders back has been, I've just had a lot of relief in that. So that's my pose. Okay, for Jody's last pose, what do you got for us?
Okay, as I mentioned, I collect and build a lot of tension in my upper spine and my head, neck, and shoulders. And one of the things that happens when we're just busy throughout the day is we get really compressed through the side body. And anytime we can open up ourselves in a nice lateral side bend, feels so good when we open the side seam of the body. And I'm a big fan of simplicity. So again, like I said, I don't want to overwhelm myself with complicated sequences at home, especially if I'm just trying to work out the niggles in myself and not do a full-on practice. So probably one of my favorite go-to poses is just one hand on the floor and then arc like a rainbow up and over top of your head. And I like to find movement in here, and rather than just staying still, I like to just push off my bottom hand and again just floss my head a bit from right to left, up and down, and then switch sides. I think this is one of the most satisfying feelings, is to open up through the side body. We don't move this way naturally in our everyday life. You know, reaching for something maybe if we did that to get something high out of the cupboard, but for the most part, the side body stays really compressed through a lot of our daily movements, so it feels just really, really good to open up through the side. One of my go-to poses for sure. But for the very last pose, Kyle, what are you going to show us?
Okay, so I'm going to take your wife's yoga mat.
Actually, that's yours.
Oh yeah, take your own yoga mat and throw it against the wall that's not finished yet. And
you bought that when we first met, and you tricked me
into
thinking that you had yoga.
I do yoga, guys.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, so
At home.
who taught me this pose? I think Jill Novak was a huge.
Did I have any influence on any of your yoga?
I'm just saying, she was one of the people that are always like legs up the wall. She really promoted this pose. So anyways, I just get really close.
Sounds like all of my friends have been highly influential in Kyle's yoga practice.
So you get your bum really close to the wall.
Yeah.
And then I just rotate and I just put my leg down and do another push.
Why do you do this pose, Kyle?
I just get, like, as you can see right now.
So actually what we would want to do is we would want to we would want to support his head. Lift your head, Kyle. Lift it up. This is a bit high, but is that a bit better? Does that feel good?
I really like this pose. It's very
therapeutic.
Yeah, I would say it's almost like, it's such a nice resting position with the when you elevate the feet. But in my mid back, it just kind of straightens it out. It's kind of to do with that stupid curved spine that I have, or whatever you want to call it. But I do get a lot of
Kyphosis.
Yeah, my kyphosis. I really do get a lot of rest here, and
you do this pose a lot before sleep, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you do this a lot in the bedroom right before bed.
But it's just one of those poses. You can open up the legs if you want for a bit of a hip opener. But yeah, like, I think this is such a restorative, restful pose that there's so many variations of it. So if you can't get into this pose, like even going a bit further and just even getting your knees against the wall just to push the lower back down and just give the back total relief is, I really, really recommend this pose. And I recommend this pose to, not that I'm the yoga expert by any means, but when I do talk to people who that don't do yoga, this is one of my go-to poses that I recommend for people. Whether they do it or not, I don't know, but I just feel good about recommending it.
So today's video, we probably didn't show you anything that you didn't already know unless you're brand new to yoga. So it's more of just a reminder that we don't have to do a 60-minute practice, or we don't have to duplicate the studio experience at home. Find your favorite pose, do the thing that feels the best in your body, and just do it a little bit every day.
Okay, so that's a wrap for today's video. In response, we are asking you guys if you can share your favorite poses, and hopefully what we can see at the end is just a whole bunch of people's favorite poses that we may like pick and choose from. But what are your guys' favorite poses? We would love to hear it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in tomorrow's video.
Bye.